can't get them to work.
Technology is the worst. There's a bear right over there.
Moving away.
All of the little tidbits and whatnots that get lost. Like an adventure motorcycle, it's still pretty light. And that should keep all my stuff nice and dry. Surprise stew for dinner. It's had freeze-dried pumpkin pie. Look how awesome that looks. Things are looking up. Crappy view.
Yeah.
All right, we're setting sail, just doing an overnighter on the Appalachia bike. First overnighter, we got her loaded down. There's probably more gear than I need, but I'll be comfy.
Oh, we didn't need to bring that.
Yeah, I strapped it to the front. Just gonna plan on leaving it there. That's a spare tube right there on the front of the bike in case I get it flat. And you can use the 21-inch inner tube on the front tire as well as the back if you need it, if you're in a bind. See, the thing about this is being on a motorcycle, man, you can explore some cool spots and find trails and little tiny offshoot roads that you never would go down before. This just gives you the freedom to do it. Find places to get out and practice your skills and do a little bit of training. And plus, it's just a heck of a lot of fun. I know one thing, I'm definitely not making excuses. I'm not a great rider, but tires make such a big difference, man. I'm telling you, some knobby tires on this bike, and it would make a huge difference. I can tractor along on that slippery, muddy stuff and not be so worried about slipping and dropping the bike. These tires are getting it done, but I definitely got to be a little bit more cautious in the slick stuff for sure. They don't have a really good outside knobby on that front tire, and it kind of wants to wash out a little bit. This is where I almost ate it before. There's a rut in there. There's a rut in there, and it almost kicked me into that big log.
Came alongside you back there. I was just coming up beside you and you went into a puddle and I got completely drenched.
Nice. Little spray action. So I'm gonna take a look at the GPS and see if we can figure out the route we want to take. It's not that we couldn't just keep going straight, but we want to hit as much dirt road as possible and stay off the pavement. Little back roads like this are awesome, but eventually this will probably lead to a larger paved road with painted lines. Gross. So we don't want any of those.
As we have our comms on our helmet and we can't get them to work.
Technology is the worst. The app that I use a lot for navigating around on back roads, or if I'm in the woods or whatever, is Gaia, Gaia, and it seems to work really well. I've had mixed results with other GPS units, but that one, the app on my phone works really, really good. There's a bear right over there. Where did he go? There it is.
He's moving away?
He's kind of going parallel to the road. It's a little one.
Put her up to the gas tank. Well, mine, it went over the top of mine.
The boots are not waterproof once you get up to that height. There's a huge big hole in the top, but these are good. I'm standing in the water. These so far these boots are pretty watertight. This is a good little route. Four stars. Four stars. They even left campfire wood for us. Those are good people that were here for us. So good. So here's the metal canteen cup that I carry with me. It's just a Stanley cook pot, and I take this thing everywhere with me pretty much. On every adventure it goes because it's just a handy thing. And for one, it's a way to boil my water and cook my mountain house meals and that kind of stuff. But Another, it's a good way to contain all of the little tidbits and whatnots that get lost rolling around to the bottom of a pack. So I've got like spare batteries in here, duct tape, sewing kits. I've got my spoon to eat with, various fire starters, and all kinds of just little tidbit things, like I said, that just get lost if you don't have them contained in something like this. So it works pretty good, and it saves space just by storing it in there. And then when I'm ready to use this canteen cup, all this stuff doesn't get just thrown out on the ground or in my bag somewhere.
Love blue. So
It matches your eyes.
matches my eyes.
It's gorgeous.
I usually see the summit or sail. If you watch the video, us cruising
Is this the
across,
one?
This is the one. This is the
Wow.
sail.
We used this. So we used this big tarp as a sail. We basically,
Florida Bay.
yeah, we made basically a catamaran sailboat with our paddle boards, and we had this huge big tailwind, and we strung this thing up between us with our paddles, right? We held one corner up high with our paddles, and we were cruising. I don't know how fast we were going, but
We made a lot of distance. We made like 30 miles in an afternoon.
way less paddling.
In the summer, this super lightweight mesh, it packs down to nothing.
Oh wow, that is really small.
So
Everything Sea to Summit makes is pretty awesome. Very, very ultra light stuff.
super expensive.
The hammock comes in this teeny tiny little bag right
I'm
here.
sorry, that's the tarp. This is the hammock.
Oh, this is the tarp. This is
Sorry.
the tarp bag.
This one just stays attached.
Super tiny. And the hammock bag just stays attached, which is also extremely small and compact. So that's cool.
And then this is asymmetrical, so you just pin it down and put a couple of stakes or rocks or whatever you got to.
Yeah.
it taut.
My tarp is the same. It's asymmetrical. I don't know what's the advantage of the asymmetry? Do you know?
Well, it confuses the bears. That's what I've been told.
Got it. Bears.
Yeah, bears. Bears don't like asymmetrical shapes,
Yeah, it's true.
right? It's
And blue.
science.
They don't
It's
like bright
and
blue.
bright blue, but they do like green.
They love
Yum, yum,
earth tony green.
I also, that's my sleeping bag, which is just a tiny little down sleeping bag. I don't know, it's what is it? It's near zero.
That's
And that's my bivy bag in case we didn't have trees. I didn't know where we were going, so I always carry the bivy
Yeah.
bag, which is just outdoor research helium bivy. Big rains, not so good. Light rains, it's fine.
yeah.
Keeps the bugs
You mean
out.
without the tarp? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then remember that kept the rats out. Oh no, the rats got inside this one.
Yes.
On our
Yeah.
trip.
They were sleeping on an island, and there were apparently rats on the island, way out, and way far from the mainland. Oh, look at you! Look
So-
at that twinsies.
Same sort of deal. And then I bring again, I don't like sleeping in hammocks much, so I also have my ground mat.
So you've got ground. So you can sleep
So I
on the
got two
ground too.
systems.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got two systems here. Well,
Yeah. In
all
the summertime, so in the colder months, I switch to the ground just because it's easier and I sleep better and I sleep warmer. In the summer though, when it's hot and sweaty and muggy, it's hard to beat a hammock in my opinion because you can just dry out really fast. Riding through rivers, or if I was to fall in the river or something, I could get my body dried out by dangling between two trees as opposed to laying on the wet ground. So I do like a hammock in the summertime. But this is an awesome setup, and everything that Gregory had on his dirt bike here, and that's basically what this is just a street legal dirt bike. Everything that he was carrying was either in this vest, which is super cool. I kind of dig the vest with all the pockets and whatnot. He's got tools and I think he's even got a spare tube in there.
2 tubes.
2 tubes, tools, all
Water.
kinds of stuff, water, bladders.
Food for 2 days.
Food for 2 days in there. Everything he needs is in this, the water bladder right there. But other than that, all of his sleep camping gear is in this tiny little dry bag strapped to the back of the bike. So he's going super ultra light. It's always nice to set up camp in the daylight. Every now and then you get caught and you can't find a good spot and it's getting dark, or
That's the Freedom Beagles.
that's right. Or you're pushing miles and you're trying to get to a set destination. and you have to set up in the dark, and that kind of sucks. But if you can get a little bit of daylight, the sun's already gone down, I think, behind the mountain over there. But we still got a little bit of light, and we can cook our food and that kind of stuff. This is a wicked cool machine. It is a 500cc fuel-injected racing dirt bike. It is awesome. He's got an upgraded, bigger fuel tank on there because before he put this on here, he ran out of gas a lot, just like I did. So he upgraded to a big tank. What is that, like a 4-gallon?
I think it's 4.39 or 4.2, somewhere like that.
Okay, so yeah, it's right at 4 gallons of fuel.
It's about 220 miles
Okay.
range, if we're not cooking.
If you're not really ripping it through the sand and stuff. So yeah, so go a couple hundred miles at least with that setup. And this bike weighs nothing. It's what is it, 250 pounds?
Yeah.
Something like that. So without all the gear and accoutrements on there, it's about a 250 pound motorcycle. And if you don't know anything about motorcycles, that's really light. I mean, that's practically nothing. It's easy. If you drop it, it's easy to pick it up. It's easy to whip around turns and move it, and it's really agile. This one is a little heavier. I mean, for like an adventure motorcycle, it's still pretty light. A lot of your, what people would call adventure bikes, the big like 1,000 cc's or even 750s and up to 1,200 cc's, all those bikes, those are going to weigh 450 pounds plus, and that's not counting gear. Yeah, that's not counting any equipment. So starting at 450 pounds and working our way up.
6.5 gallon tanks.
Yeah, big fuel tanks.
Because they're big engines. And
Yeah, but they're made more for long highway miles and just, you know, that kind of higher speed riding. They will do off-road, but they don't do great off-road. This is an amazing off-road machine, but it doesn't do great on the highway. So these tires here, I'm having a little bit of issues. The back tire doesn't really matter. It's doing fine. I'm not worried about that. But this one here, there is no aggression here on this outside knobby, and when I go around like a loose turn, it's a little bit squirrely, especially in the downhills. So
this aggression does not stand.
yeah, we need a little bit more aggression in our lives here. So I'll upgrade that pretty soon. Hit a couple of big rocks, like hard. I got a lot of tire pressure in here, though. I should maybe let a little out. Gauge ready? You want to see my calibrated pressure gauge? Ready? Watch this.
Nice.
Yeah, that checks out. Those of you that don't know anything about off-road motorcycling, not that I'm an expert, but those of you that don't know anything about off-road motorcycling, if you take a little bit of air pressure out of your tires, this goes for trucks too, off-roading. If you take a little bit of pressure out of your tires, you're going to get a whole lot more traction. You got to be a little bit careful running really low pressure, because if you hit a rock of some sort and you're running tubes, you have inner tubes inside of your tires, you can get a pinch flat. So you got to be a little bit careful with that. But depending on the terrain that you're riding on, letting a little bit of air pressure out can help you get a little bit more traction and not slip around so much. I need my official camp spoon.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. This is the other.
People like cooking over their camp stoves, and the camp stoves are efficient and they're fast and they're easy. But there's something about just making stuff over the fire, you know? It takes a little longer, but if you're not in a hurry, what difference does it make?
Our menu is beef stewski with
It's Polish.
hearty gravy.
Polish beef stewski.
Hearty
gravy.
hearty gravy. This is the secret sauce right here.
Yeah, you open that up.
Open that up, that bad boy.
Mix
just
that in there, and that makes it taste better.
Silica.
I've had this spoon for years. I don't remember
You
where
cut it down?
Yeah, I don't remember where I got it, but I cut that handle down so it fits in my cup easy. I've had this thing forever. It's a good one.
Should I get a little more small wood? How big your battery is?
Okay. One thing that I do not have on my bike yet is a way to charge devices like my phone or GPSs and all that kind of stuff. I did have it on my other motorcycle. I just haven't gotten around to installing it on the new one, but I will. This setup right here hooks up to the battery on the motorcycle. You just pop that little cover off and you can insert the USB like that, hit the little button, and you can start charging. So now I can plug this into my phone and I'll be good to go. And what I've done in the past is I have my phone mounted to the handlebars like this one right here. Here, shut this off for a second so I don't have to yell at you. But I have my phone mounted to the handlebars like this GPS is. And then you can just plug it in while you're riding down the road and your phone always stays charged up and you don't have to worry about it. And that's pretty handy, especially if you're using it to navigate like I typically do. I raided the pantry. This is what's for dinner. I'm cozy and dry and warm over in my hammock underneath my tarp, but all my gear, if I was to leave it out here in the morning, is probably going to be wet. Whether it rains or not, the dew this time of year is pretty heavy, so everything's going to be soaking wet. So that is yet one more reason why I always like to carry a poncho. So I'm just going to, I could take all my stuff and sit over there underneath my hammock, but where I set up is kind of a rocky, crappy area. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spread this out over my gear and my boots, and that should keep all my stuff nice and dry.
Pro tip, don't put...
Got a surprise stew for dinner. It's a combination of chicken rice soup and macaroni and cheese. And so we made the call. We pulled an audible. We decided that it was important that we just go ahead and throw the cheese mix in there. I was just going to do the pasta and, you know, heft it up a little bit, but we said, why not? Throw the cheese in. I think it's a good call. It's looking
Mighty fine.
It's looking good. That's probably still hot. Oh yeah, that thickened her right up. Okay, so for dessert, I'm pretty excited about this. Like I said, I just raided the pantry. And we have freeze-dried pumpkin pie, which is one of my favorite things on the planet. If you've never had freeze-dried pumpkin pie, you need to try it. And if you're feeling real fat, like a real fat kid, we're gonna spread some Jif on there. Oh man, look how awesome that looks. Oh, and by the way, this soup expired a long time ago. And so it's a best by date, of course. It's canned, and as long as the seal isn't broken and there's no issues, technically it should be fine. This expired like, I don't know, 3 years ago. But we're gonna find out if it's still good. I boiled it, should be fine. Oh yeah. Excellent call, putting the cheese. That really hefted it up.
Whole pie, and you just stick it in there?
Yeah. Just nibble off little pieces of it. It's delightful.
Oh, that's very good.
Right? It's so good. All right, man. See you in the morning.
See you in the morning.
Good night, sir. Throw on some jammies. So if I should get cold in the middle of the night, I've got my bivy bag. Probably not gonna need it. I also brought a towel or a multi-purpose cloth, whatever you want to say it, whatever you want to call it. It's in here somewhere. Right here, so basically I can just cover it with it like a sheet for the most part. It's nice to have options. That's a wrap. Oh. Good day. Didn't put in a whole lot of miles today, but you know, some slower, rougher trails with no real agenda. I like, you know, some of my favorite outings into wild places have no agenda. It's just head out and see what happens, you know. You'll get lost somewhere, and eventually when you're ready to come back, find your way out. And I just like that. It takes the pressure off a little bit, you know. Slows the pace a little. It's not like you gotta be somewhere at a certain time or else, you know, gonna miss your train. So I like the slower pace. I like the freedom to go wherever I want to go and stop wherever I want to stop. Go for a swim in the river if I want to. And today wasn't too hot, actually. I remember last year we went for a ride in the summertime, and it was so friggin' hot. And it was just, every time we saw a spot to jump in the water, we pretty much did, just to cool off for a minute. And it felt fantastic. So today was pretty nice. I think the high was in the 70s, 80 degrees maybe at the most. But anyway, sleeping in the hammock, nice and dry, cozy and warm. I don't think it's supposed to rain tonight, but if it does, it won't matter. Things are looking up. See you in the morning.
Good morning. Gregory's up early, getting the fire going like a champion.
It's still cold from last night.
Got a little cool last night. I was too lazy to get the bivy bag out. I just threw on my puffy jacket here. The noble steeds are still there. The bear didn't take them away. Need some more killing? I can go fetch some more. Should be enough. A nice cup of Joe. We were just discussing how different woods are so much different as far as firewood goes. We have some oak in here. The people that camped here before were nice enough to leave us a little bit of seasoned, dry oak, and there were still hot coals in there from last night. But if you were to try to do that with pine, there would be nothing. After 20 minutes, it's out and cold. There's nothing left whatsoever. It's just pretty interesting how the different woods react. The thing that we usually do is throw all of our rubbish, as Gregory would call it, in the fire. It just burns off any of the scent and kind of minimizes the scent, keeps the bears from coming around getting curious, or raccoons or possums or whatever. Throw it in there, burn all the foodstuffs off of it, and then you could just carry that back with you as is. And that's what's left over from a mountain house meal after you burn it. So Gregory, tell us about this recipe of coffee you're making here. Walk me through this process.
It's brown.
And Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. It's just brown.
Is there another one?
Oh.
If you have another one, let me know.
No, it's just brown.
Brown.
So you take the coffee
And you put it in till
you put
it's
it
brown.
in you put it in the water, and then it turns brown.
And it turns brown.
Okay.
The browner the better.
That's good.
That's what I said, the browner the better.
Ah. Yeah.
Oh, then the key is you just let it sit for a little bit.
Just let it sit.
Ow, it's still hot. Funny that.
It's funny how that works.
Then ideally you get a birch stick
A birch.
that's been peed on by a
By 2 raccoons.
marmot
By a marmot. We don't have
within
marmots.
within the city limits.
We don't have marmots, but so that makes it especially
Rare.
rare.
That's why it's the secret, right? It's marmot pee on a birch stick.
And that really
Really
flavor
ties
brings the flavor out.
ties the fire together, or ties the room together.
Something that I almost never carry is a chair or a seat of any kind. So whenever you get to camp, it's kind of like, you just kind of sit in the dirt. Or luckily, you find a rock like this one. It's pretty nice. It's got a flat top on it to sit on. But Gregory was saying a good tip. Well, actually, he uses his riding armor to sit on oftentimes, which is
not wearing it.
when he's not wearing it, which is nice. But what you can do is you could take a small portion of the thermarest, the accordion style folding up pads, and I usually cut them down a little bit anyway because they're pretty bulky, and you can take that cut off portion and you can slip it down in like where you put like the water bladder in your pack, and it doesn't really take up any room, you don't really notice it, and then you can pull that thing out and have something soft and dry to sit on when you get to camp. So if I'm sitting in the dirt here, which usually I don't mind, but if it's really wet, it's been raining a bunch, it sucks to get your rear end all soaked. So that would be a good little camp trick right there. Or you could just carry a chair, but
Nah, that's a bad idea.
who does that?
Who does that?
Let's try out our brew. It's brown
It's brown. The browner the better.
and hot. That little bit of pad, I could be sitting on the dry ground and leaned up against this rock and be I could be living large, but not so much. Moto camping is one of our favorite things to do, and I don't know about you, but my favorite part about it is how minimalist you have to be. You have to carry a little bit of stuff. You can't carry all the things that you'd like you would in your truck, you know. You got the basics. Some food, some water, some shelter, and that's pretty much it.
I think what's nice about it is the actual, as opposed to driving a truck or a vehicle, which is kind of you do every day, the motorcycle kind of keeps you a little bit more adventurous and kind of on your toes. And when you get to the camp, it feels like you've accomplished something as opposed to just drive somewhere and offload it.
Yeah, you didn't roll in with the AC blaring, you know, and the stereo pumping. We get there and start pulling out your ice chest full of cold beverages and stuff.
Now these overlanding vehicles,
Yeah.
they are what you buy a vehicle for $60,000
And you put 120 in it.
120 in it.
But I saw one recently that had an ice maker in it. It was like a, what was it? It wasn't even a big truck. It was like a Tacoma, and in the back it had this crazy rig that, you know, did everything from making ice to, I don't know, producing its own electricity. I don't know. It was weird.
I think that the current batch of overlanding vehicles and accessories is the equivalent of what the boat used to be. You know, you get your fishing boat and then you deck it out with the GPS and the rod holders, and it's the same thing. It's just trying to fill pockets. Anyway, it's all good.
Yeah. Hey, if that's your thing, you know,
I mean, whatever. I mean,
I don't care. I mean, if that's your thing, if you love the overlanding stuff and you love decking your truck out with all the latest and greatest gear, like, go for it.
You know what's amazing? The gear is amazing, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the. But it's like, who's got the money for that?
It's crazy.
You know, it's
I don't know.
a pop-up, one of those pop-up tents is like $5 or $6 grand.
Yeah.
And then that's the starting point. You got to get a rack to put it on. And
Yeah. It gets intense. I mean, just upgraded wheels and tires that everybody puts on. I mean, that's a fortune in and of itself. But and motorcycles are significantly. I mean, you can still spend a lot of money on motorcycles, but comparatively, they're a lot less expensive just because there's a whole lot less to them. One of the reasons why I chose Rocky over there, the XR650, is because it's so economical. It's brand new at $7,000. I mean, you could find them used, of course, for significantly less, but they hold their value pretty well. But for $7,000, you're riding a brand new motorcycle that will do everything that you need it to do, and you don't have to do upgrades and all the stuff that a lot of people do, and that I do as well. But you can just ride it as is, stock, and ride it till the end of its days, which would be a long time if you chose to. But like everybody else, there's a few things that I like to change or add or do a little bit differently so it performs a little better perhaps, or it's a little bit more durable perhaps. Like, oh, I didn't show you. I'll show you now while I'm drinking my coffee. My repair job that I did. So day before yesterday, I hit this trail and I dropped the bike. I wasn't even moving. I just dropped the bike. You know, my legs were too short. And I dropped the bike and I bent the clutch lever. The brake lever. I bent it. And I rode it home bent, and it was driving me crazy. I can't stand it. My OCD was driving me nuts. So I was like, I'm going to try to straighten it out. And I knew better. Every time I tried to straighten a clutch lever or something, it always breaks. So I started cranking on it, and it cracked. I felt it pop, like right here in the front. It split about halfway. So I took a whole crap load of JB Weld, and I just gobbed it up. So JB Weld for the win. That stuff is amazing. It's pretty strong stuff, and it's been holding it hasn't broke yet. So we're still in business, and until I replace it, that's going to have to work. But JB Weld is really good. I've never used it for this purpose, but I've heard of guys patching up like engine cases and stuff. If you were to like crack the case right here, that would be really bad. So you could use that JB. We cleaned up the surface, and you could patch that case with the JB Weld, and I've heard of guys doing that and basically keeping it on there permanently. No further repair needed. Radiators could be patched up. So if you were to catch a big rock here or something and get a hole in the bottom of your radiator, which could definitely happen, and all your coolant comes out, which conveniently is impossible on my motorcycle because I don't have a radiator, which is another reason why I chose that motorcycle. Less things to go wrong. So when I'm packing up my camp gear, I just jam it all into this dry bag right here. I don't put it into its individual stuff sacks. The only time I do that is when I first leave, pretty much, because they're already in the stuff sacks. But if you just jam it all in here, it takes up less space, actually. So I just cram everything into one bag. Tarp, hammock, sleeping bag would get jammed in here too. Everything would just get stuffed into this one pack. The only exception is if something was wet, like my tarp or something, I might separate that from all the other stuff and just strap that on the outside of my motorcycle so it can dry out as I ride, but pretty much everything else just gets jammed in. Gotta do wool socks. What kind of savage doesn't wear wool socks? You know what I mean? What kind of freak?
It's just, they don't stink.
They don't stink.
A week on
Yeah.
the bike,
And they dry so much
they
faster
might be
too.
crusty and they might be awful, but they don't stink.
Yeah. It's really nice to not have to carry water. I can carry an empty water filter like this one and stop anywhere. We cross the water. We cross some sort of stream every 100 yards, it seems like. Or we're running parallel to it the entire time. Yeah. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this pops out of the power plant.
This is definitely one of the routes we're on. I'll check it when we get it open.
Yeah, I've been to this spot a few times for sure.
Yeah.
See, it's reasons like this that motorcycles are so awesome. A truck would be stopped without a chainsaw or, you know, an axe and a lot of effort. Moto just motors on through. Whoops.
Wasn't looking where I was going. Not very thunderous, Thunder Rock at the moment.
What did it come through here?
Yeah, it all flows over that. But I guess they're diverting the water through the plant.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of water flowing through here and not through there.
Yeah.
I guess is how it works, I'm not sure. And there's the highway.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Nothing more frustrating than a closed gate. Don't tell me where I can or can't go. Limit my freedom. And the beauty of a machine like this is that if I wanted to, I can zip right around the gate and go that direction if that's the way I needed to go or just wanted to go anyway. Not that I'm encouraging you to break the law, but I'm saying if the situation required you to go through a gate like this, it'd be very difficult to do it without some sort of way to cut the gate. I guess if you had a really big winch or something like that, you could rip it off or something on a big truck, but most likely that trail is probably pretty overgrown and difficult to travel anyway, and really the only way to do it without walking is probably going to be on something like this. And the beauty of a machine like this too, yes, it is inherently dangerous and you can potentially crash, and the likelihood of injury is definitely higher on something like this, but there's always a trade-off. The trade-off is the mobility. I could go just about any, if I want to go right there, if I need to get past that little obstacle right there, that's what I'll do. If that's where I want to camp for the night, I could just park my bike right there and I'm set up and camped for the evening, which I think is fantastic. So yes, a little bit more dangerous, of course. You're exposed. If it's hot outside, you're hot. If it's cold, you're cold. If it's wet, probably gonna be a little bit wet. But you can go just about anywhere. I can literally take it through those woods. It'd be difficult, obviously, but I can literally go through those woods and connect to another trail or road if I chose to, if that's what the situation required. I hate this mirror.
I actually thought it was your phone.
Yeah.
So I jammed on the brakes and it rolled down the side.
If it falls out again, just keep going.
Well,
Don't.
You can't tell what exactly it is
Yeah.
when you just see something fly off.
So we saw this little offshoot trail and we thought, I wonder where that goes. Well, it goes to a really rough dead end. And now we gotta turn around.
This is what drives me crazy.
What's that?
Trash. People.
Come to a place like this, and instead of taking it with you,
What do they expect? That the chipmunks are gonna come clean it up?
they don't care.
Yeah, but then, so where does that mindset come from?
I don't know. It's a selfish mindset. It means you only care about yourself, and that's it. It's a crappy view.
Yeah. Those clouds are in the way. See, it's messing up the horizon.
Ugh, gross.
So which direction are we looking at?
We did it. Rocky there, she did it. No issues, right? I didn't have a single issue. No problems with either bike. Ran like a top. Didn't even drop the bike. Look at that. Look at us.
Way too conservative.
Yeah. Good run. Very reliable. I'm digging it. Starting to really get to know it, enjoy it. We've got 650 miles on it, so I'm just past the break-in period. I got to change the oil when I get back. I'll change the oil. I ordered some parts, so I'll hopefully get these handlebars a little higher and change the air filter and stuff like that. But otherwise,
New tires.
ooh, tires are soon. I'm gonna try to wear these out first and then swap them out.
Still big burnout.
But we did it.
You did it.
Buddy.